This episode was recorded in front of a live stream audience. Join me at gaming.youtube.com/the Jessa Channel. Hey there, you are watching the Jessa Channel on YouTube. I'm Jessa, and today I am here with some more Divinity Original Sin 2, and hey, I'm having a good fro day. That's cool. My husband said, yes, you are. So, it is a chilly day today, and so I have a wide scarf on. And I see some of you in chat. I see some of you watching. Say hello to me if you'd like to. Otherwise, I will sit here and happily talk to myself. It won't be the first time, and it won't be the last time. Hello, Morgwen. Hello, Patrick. You guys were just gonna sit there quietly and watch me just happily talk to myself. I'd have done the whole stream talking to myself, too. Hello, Peta. Welcome. Hi, Peta. So now I have you in my head, Peta, like you and Discord and all that kind of stuff, so I know who you are and all the different platforms. Because, you know, people use different usernames. Okay, so we are going to be playing some Divinity Original Sin 2 today. And we are playing as Shelben Riley Katte, our Scholar Summoner. And in the last session, we finished Act 1. We had a massive ship battle, and including ballistas, which I kept calling trebuchets. And we finally went head to head, in a manner of speaking, with Dallas the Hammer, who I suspect is going to be coming back to haunt us again. So I am glad to see you guys here. I'm glad to see people coming on in, and please feel free to get a cup of tea and sit down and enjoy yourself. And when you see me looking at different places, I'm looking at my screen, like my chat is right there. So when I'm looking there, I'm looking at my chat. When I'm looking here, I'm looking at me. When I'm looking there, up there, I'm looking at you. Thank you, Morgwin. I really appreciate it. Oh, I just realized, look, one of my earrings is coming out. Here we go. So today's earrings are kind of, I got a purple thing going on, as you can see. There's Ping back there. Let me scoot over a little bit. There's Ping. Humpin' Harvard. Hi, Dent. Quality stream here. Harvard humpage. Anyway, I've got my, it's kind of, I know this doesn't, let's see if I can kind of get them into focus. It's hard to see him. I don't know how to make this thing focus. So it can't really focus on me and the things and the earrings. It's hard to see. Yeah, that just makes it worse. Anyway, they're kind of goddessy kind of earrings. That's a goddess figure there, complete with little goddess boobs. It's hard to see her goddess boobs. But anyway, I've had this one for a long time. I love this shape, the female shape, and the goddessy type shape. So I don't know. Hi, Sky. Hello, welcome. So I've got my purple thing going on today. Last night we did some live simming, the patrons, and that went live on the channel. And for those of you guys who are interested in The Sims 2, that will be happening more often. We do a lot of private live simming, but I've figured out how to do it in a way that makes it, anyway, some of those will be going public. That's all I'm saying. So you can enjoy that too later on. Let's head on in to the world of Divinity Original Sin 2, and head into the game. I was going to actually do some buying and selling, and I tried to, but immediately a dialogue popped up, like an NPC talked to us, which we'll see. So I decided that we'll just do the buying and selling on camera, because I didn't want to have you guys miss any dialogue or any of the story unfolding. Your mommy likes purple. Your mommy, listen to me. Okay, so let's head into the world of Divinity Original Sin 2. Welcome. And it's a Friday afternoon. Enjoy. Okay, so I'm going to bring the J down there. And the camera is fine. And so let me minimize this and head into the world. Oh, let me just quickly check the sound. The sound, I think, needs to come down just a little bit on this particular game. So we'll try that, because it's a little loud. Your mom sounds like a rude joke. Well, many rude jokes do start out with that. Okay, so, if the mod team, which is only one of you right now, can give a sound check, please, I would appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so we are here. Let's first of all say hello to our protagonist and his party. This is Shelben Riley Katte. His companions Ifan, Ben Mez, Losa, and Beast. The first thing I want to do before we do anything else is I actually want to talk to our companions. We've talked a little bit to Ifan in the last episode. We learned that he needs to meet with some of his lone wolves, fellow mercenaries, really assassins actually, at somewhere here in Driftwood. And Beast is interested in getting to know a dwarf that's well known here in Driftwood. Their speech is very quiet. Oh, the NPC background speech, that's supposed to be quiet. It's from nearby NPCs. Yep. They'll talk in a minute and we'll see how it sounds for you, Sky. And then this is but we haven't had a chance to really get to know or talk with Losa, who Shelben has a crush on. Shelben walks up to Losa and he says, "Losa, we're here in Driftwood. We've made it all safely, and I'm glad to see it." Let me actually get their health up there. Losa is in need of some source. She used hers, but we'll get some for her at some point. Hello, Heather. So anyway, he says, Losa, I'm glad to have seen that you've made it well, and I hope the demon, well, whatever it is in your head, hasn't given you any trouble.
I gotta say, I think we're onto something interesting here.
That should be better for you, Sky. Let's talk about some of the people we've met lately. Losa says, I think we're onto something interesting, and Shelben says, I think what's really interesting are some of the people we've met lately.
What, this old gaggle of weirdos?
Is anyone from home you miss it? Losa?
I don't know about home, but I do sort of miss the gang I travel with now and then. Crawler, Madcap, Papa Joris for sure. Musicians mostly. We all had our own stories, our own troubles, but when we were together and the music was with us, it was like none of that mattered at all.
So it turns out that I did have this conversation. I just noticed the words and all that. So, but we'll have it again. Shelben cocks a head to one side and says, Papa Joris? A musician traveling family. It sounds like so much fun, Losa. Perhaps when all of this is done, well, when all of this is done, I suppose I or someone else will be divine. If I am not divine, I'll probably be dead. But if I'm not dead, then, well, perhaps we can go traveling too, Losa. I can learn to sing. I can sing. See? I can sing, I can sing, I can sing. See? Losa looks at him with a cocked eyebrow. That was terrible, Shelben. Anyway.
When you have people like that around you, you know, a family, even rain feels like sunshine.
I agree. Rain feels like sunshine when you're about, Losa. So there's not much else we can do. Well, we can ask her what she thinks we should do now. So now that we're here, what do you think we should do here in Driftwood? I know we need to find a place to sleep, and perhaps sell some of our wares.
Well, I think I should focus on getting this demon out of my head. And of course, I think you should help me.
So am I, Heather. I am totally shipping them. I hope it happens. Well, of course I'll help you, Losa. I've already promised.
And if we pick up a few new source tricks along the way, so be it.
I like all the companions that we have. Ifan is very interesting. So is Losa. And Beast. They're all great, but I have to say I think Los is probably my favorite because she's just so cheerful. Despite, you know, the fact that she's got an entity in her brain. But Shelben knows what that's like. He has something also talking to him, whispering sweet evils. This is Beast.
Not much of a landlubber, but sometimes I get no choice in the matter. Besides, there's business to take care of.
Hello, Ralphist. Welcome. Over here with Beast, my favorite thing about him, his voice. I'd like to shake the hand of the voice actor. So, let's see what Beast suggests that we do.
Malady said this Meister lady's the key, so we follow her lead.
Agreed. We just need to find her.
Beast pauses for a moment to consider whether he's forgotten anything important.
I'd also appreciate it if we dealt with this Lohar fella. He's the key to unlocking this mess Justinia's made.
Yes. Somehow, I know you think your queen is up to no good. Tell me more about her.
So, there's some things you ought to know about me. I'm sort of, kind of royalty. I mean, I never wore a crown. Not with diamonds in it, anyway. I once stuck a wreath on my head and... Oh, sorry. I need to stop with that whole tangent thing.
Okay, I'd like to know more about that story later.
Anywho, let's just get it out there. I'm a bastard. The literal kind. And the other kind. The royals weren't all great with me, and I weren't too great with them. To make an overlong story over short, I started the rebellion and got caught and exiled to an island prison. Like Fort Joy, but 10 times worse. I would have died there too, if one of Justinia's ships hadn't sailed so close. So, I kind of took it, and off I went. Cool, right?
I really like that you kind of took it. I'm not sure how one kind of takes a ship. You sort of really kind of take it. I mean, well, you take it or you don't. But I've seen what a good sailor you are, Beast. And, well, if you were gonna take a ship, I'd sure want to be on it. Beast smiles. Beneath his huge beard, you can see his lips twitching with a smile. There's no room up here, baby. Sad panda. That's Luke, my cat.
Then I came upon the Victory. Nice ship. The royal sailors walked the plank as well as you could hope for. That's where I found the notes. Right there in the open. Next to the manifest.
The notes? What did the notes say?
Let's see how quick I can be. Queen Justinia's ordered some dwarf named Lohar to ambush a ship called the Peacemaker and take its cargo. Whatever's on it, she's using it against the rebels. She calls it Operation Downfall. Pretty ominous, eh? So, yeah, hoping to find this Lohar fellow and stop the Operation Downfall thing. And there you have it. Tangent-free. Mostly. Well, not mostly. A little. Okay, not at all.
I really like Beast. Shelben says, well, Operation Downfall cannot be a good thing. I am sorry, I am eating a little bit because my husband brought me a egg and sausage muffin like literally 3 minutes before I went live, and I'm so hungry. So I'm gonna munch a little bit quietly. As in hijacked it, really. Pretty much I think that's what he meant. Beast. Beast. Plus he's named Beast. I mean, come on. How awesome is that? Alright. This is sad. Thane was killed in the fighting as we tried to escape Dallas's ambush. After our tumultuous escape into the Hall of Echoes, It turns out Red Prince didn't survive the voyage into the land of the dead. He is a spirit now, lost forever, Shelben writes in his journal. Well, let's carry on. I think the most important thing to do now that we are here in Driftwood is to look for merchants who will be able to tell us perhaps where we might be able to find Meister. This looks like the town square. People chatter to themselves and with each other, and Shelben notices a man selling arms and armor. Someone over here selling tons of fish, perhaps tainted, perhaps not. Over here is a seller of spell books and other paraphernalia, and finally, it looks like a seller of potions. Shelben sees in front of him a beggar.
Penny for a sick dog?
Shelben looks at the dog. He is leaning and breathing heavily, tongue lolling out and looking very sad.
A glance at the dog's miserable face tells you it's sick, all right.
Shelben gives him alms, 1 gold.
Thank ye kindly. Any chance of another one? Penny for a sick dog and all that?
Shelben feels so sad for the dog. He makes another donation.
Much obliged. Could I push you for 1 more? Penny for a sick dog, etc.
Beast does a little growl as Shelben reaches into his pocket for a 3rd coin, and Shelben looks at him nervously. What's wrong with the dog?
Oh, my dog's doctor. Dog's sick. Go on, give us a penny for a sick dog.
Beast shakes his head slowly, and Shelben puts away the coin. He can talk to dogs and all animals, so he walks quietly over the dog and leans over and says, "What's the matter, boy?"
The dog lies there quietly, clearly in great pain.
What are you looking at? I'm sick here. Get lost.
"What ails you?"
Got a pain in the neck. And got a bad pain in the neck.
You can't come through here right now, Pumpkin. I'm trying to live stream. Shelben reaches out to pet the dog and lays his hand upon its neck.
It flinches. A low, threatening growl builds within its throat.
He notices his collar is rather tight and slides his hand beneath it.
Under the collar, you find the sharpened points of metal rivets, gouging the poor dog's skin. The dog bares its teeth at you and growls.
Shelben hisses with anger. And then he says, with sudden anger, Shelben is not one who gets angry very often, but this is too much. Beast folds his arms, staring down at the beggar, who suddenly looks very nervous. He tells the dog, Shelben, that he can heal its pain, but it must trust him.
The dog gives you a long, hard stare, but does not bite you. Yet.
Shelben turns the collar inside out.
The dog goes to bite your hand, and then realizes the pain is gone.
Hey, I feel okay. Thanks, man. Think I'll wander off now. Here, before I go, what can I do to show my gratitude?
Oh my gosh. Tell the dog that a payment in gold is customary? How are you going to get gold out of a dog, A, and what?
How you holding up?
Not in any mood to talk about it.
You can, get away from this man. Find a better owner. I would give you some food if I had it on me. But if you come to the inn and I am there, I will buy you a bowl of hot stew. He gives the dog a friendly pat on the head. And the dog runs off. Beast says, let me handle this. It looks like Aefon's been interrupted in conversation. As the Magisters' eyes light upon you, they widen until they are practically bulging out of their sockets. One tremulous finger rises from the voluminous robes and points at Aefon. From her other hand dangles handcuffs.
Aefon Ben Mesd is our living breeze. I don't know how you got free, but it'll be back to the joy with you, and no mistake.
Aefon bin Maza, what now? Oh. I don't know. I don't think Aefon would just try and look confused and play it off. He's too forward, too truthful, too almost proud of who he is, though he's not a fool. I think he would try and say, you remembered me, knowing that she won't be able to take them back. Not without the help of his, not with his companions close by.
Who could forget? Best night's business the healer had in months. Now, come on. Back into a cage where you belong.
Yeah, he's not going to allow himself to be arrested. He growls. He says, you'd be wise to ignore my presence completely. Do you really want to try this? How do you think we got out of Fort Joy? Not a Magister left alive in the entire place.
The Magister balks, all bravado punctured. She hums a tune and looks the other way, pretending to be completely alone here.
Rid of the Voidwoken anytime soon.
She walks by Aefon and Aefon says, and a good day to you too.
What did they call her?
Let's go ahead and talk to this beggar. Beast is pretty angry about this, being a dog lover himself. He walks over to the man and he says, do you know how I got the name Beast?
Penny for a grieving beggar whose dog ran away.
The beggar tries it, sounding very frightened. I noticed that your dog had a most uncomfortable contraption about his neck. I find it to be very cruel.
God damn it. That was my livelihood. Penny for a grieving beggar? I reckon I'm owed it here.
I don't think you're owed a thing. I think the people need to know what you did. Perhaps, and Beast leans over and notices a town crier over here. Town crier. And he says, perhaps the town crier would be interested.
You wouldn't do that, would you? Oh, yes, you would do that, wouldn't you? I couldn't prevail upon you to change your mind, could I?
So we can basically extort him. And I don't like that there's no other choice but to extort him. However, I don't feel that he should keep all the coin that he got because of the poor pained dog. So Shelben says, take all of his money and we'll use it to buy some good meat for the dog if we should see him again. Beast says, I do believe that's a good idea, boy.
He gives you a cool look, then rummages in his pocket. He hands you the contents.
That's your lot. Go on then. Get lost, you freeloader. I'm working here.
Beast says, a pleasure doing business with you, son. All right, so,
Woke up this morning in a sweat.
a man and his dog. We extorted the beggar into giving us some gold. Hopefully we'll run into the dog and be able to give him some meat. I will actually buy some meat. I'm going to scroll out so the NPC voices aren't too loud here. But I will actually buy some meat if we find some stew or something. Anything that I can give to the dog. If we find him again. Let's,
Wars are brewing, my friend, and I'll stand by your side. But prices will go up, even for one of our own. Buy now and buy often.
Hello, Thunder. Welcome. Welcome to the Jessa Channel. Is that Thunder Rider VA? Is that like Virginia or voice actor? If it's voice actor, that's awesome. If it's Virginia, cool. I've never been to Virginia, so I wouldn't know. So let's trade. No way. Do you have a YouTube? Is that your YouTube channel? Does it have your voice samples on it? Hey, you guys, there's a voice actor here. That's awesome. Okay, so, Thunder. Okay, now I'm all of a sudden really self-conscious because I'm voicing this Thunder. And, I am, not real sure that I, want to do that now. Yeah, kind of want to say that, I think maybe I shouldn't be voicing this anymore. I'm only half kidding. Gold. So, can we even, where did we get this from? Can you even sell this? Let's try. Let me move this so I can see it. We could give the dog raw, lumpy giblets, but, I don't know. Let's see if we can get him something a little bit nicer. Let's put this in crafting, and this void-tainted yellow ridgeback I want to keep just for Shelben's curiosity, even though it makes his bag stink and his companions start to complain. That's very nice to say, Heather. Very nice. I know I'd enjoy myself, I can tell you that much. Sky Lance. Steam Lance. Gonna save that for Beast. Yeah, and that's pretty much the way I want to do it. That's fantastic, Thunder. Welcome to the Jessa Channel. Alright, so... Oh, yeah, I want to sell again. Trading! And let's do this, and then we're gonna see if we can find Meister. All right.
Now they've got that Alicia's general in charge. What do they call her? The Axe?
And what did they call her? The Axe? All right. Well, we just came this way, so, where might Meister be? Let's take a look at the map. Oh! As Shelben looks at the map of Driftwood on the wall of the gate, he sees it denoted that Meister's house is just to his right. So, Thunder, I will definitely go look at your YouTube channel after I'm done live streaming. It seems that this is the house on the map. A young girl runs around, somewhat frantically on the porch. Shelben says, "You there! You there! Stand still a moment."
You can't go in there, mister. The Meister isn't home and the Magisters locked her house up for her.
Really? Over her shoulder, Shelben notices a sign on the door.
They was very angry about it. They said mean things about the Meister and they left a mess, a big one.
Do you know where the Meister might be, then? Shelben looks around. It does look like this place has been a bit ransacked. There's, he can't see through the door, but he could also see that, things are knocked over a bit on the porch, you know, that kind of thing.
She's outside the gates. I can't go outside the gates. It's very dangerous. Hey, you want to know a secret? When the wind blows from over the stream, I can hear the Meister.
First rule of voice acting, don't eat while voice acting. Shelben looks over at the stream.
I can hear her crying.
She gives you a look of the darkest meaning. Then she takes a deep breath, puts on a happy smile, turns, and skips away.
That will, yeah, so if you guys want to be a voice actor, don't do what I'm doing right now, okay? Don't start a live stream when you're hungry and your husband just gave you a sausage and egg muffin. Don't do that. What was that? A powerful awakening. Here we go. We have learned that Meister Siva was arrested by the Magister forces in Driftwood and is currently being kept half dead at a gallows on the outskirts of the village. Shelben says, of course we're going to need to rescue her. Come on. They all troop down the stairs, and, let's just see what there is around here, of course. Because, you know, we want to save Meister, but we also want to loot the heck out of everything. Let's see what's in the sack. Oh, nice. Lucky Charm. I love that skill. As they come up to the stream, they see a boat to the north. Shelben says, I hope no one minds getting their feet wet. Okay, perhaps a little more than your feet. Losa says, my undergarments are a bit drippy now. Thank you. Oh. They're a bit wet now, Shelben. Shelben says, Losa, quiet, I hear something. As they come around a large tree, Shelben sees the gallows. One of the occupants of the gallows is unfortunately no longer in Rivellon or in any world. However, one is still got a bit of fight in her. Mala. So you have been watching for a long time. I think Mala, whenever people ask me, I say Mala and Inigo retired. A wonderful friendship, which never became more, I don't think. And by just outside of Riften, along the lake there, they have a lovely place. And I think Mala and Inigo have done a lot of traveling. Gone to Hammerfell and Cyrodiil and occasionally got into trouble. But anyway, so if you've been watching me since Mala, then I don't have to be scared of voice acting because you know where I've come from, how I've come. Anyway, Shelben walks up with purpose in his step. Tales of Symphonia. I've heard of it. It's not high on my list, no. So, but it's cool, you know, I mean, if you're Thunder Rider, if you're doing, you know, live streaming, I mean, Let's Plays and stuff like that, with voices, you know, that's always needed on YouTube. Not many people do it. Myself, Stu, the Couch Warrior, Mark, and Rykon are the only four that I know of who do it consistently. Anyway, Shelben walks up and says to the executioner, "Hey there, what are you doing?"
A Magister guard approaches. Behind her, on the gallows, 2 lizards. One in a Magister uniform hangs dead from her neck. The other hangs...
Step away from the prisoner!
We don't need a description. What cause have you to treat this woman so?
She's hanging by her hands because the boss don't want her dead just yet. She's a tough one, Meister Seaver. She's a seeker, and she's a bloody traitor.
Kill Alexander, you stupid ape. Release me.
A traitor? What crime?
She was part of the Order. Knew Alexander personally. Alexander trusted her, at least as far as you can trust a lizard. To repay that trust, the Meister gave Alexander up to his enemies. She wasn't there when Alexander fell, but White Magister Raymond uncovered the truth. She's as guilty as any of them, and I reckon she got off lightly. I'd have had her flayed alive with a salted bullwhip.
Sweet woman. Shelben says, unfortunately, it is not your lucky day. I am going to set this Meister free. You are best, wise to stand aside.
You're going to... what, now?
Are you missing in your hearing a bit? You have the opportunity, to set the Meister free yourself, otherwise I will do the deed.
She betrayed Alexander. I'd sooner die than free her.
Just start, writer. There's really no tips, you know. I mean, basically, I think you might be saying, you know, you don't know how to start it off because you might have... I'm putting words in your mouth, but I'm guessing that it's because you have fear. The only way to get better... Not that... I mean, if you have done voice acting, you already know. The only way to get better is to keep doing it. Producing content. That's it. Just sit down, open up the game, and start voicing the character. And then press record. Or, if you're incredibly brave...
Come now. Is this really...
press the start streaming button, go live, and do it in front of people, because it's the only way that you're going to get past your fears, really. That's what I did. I mean, I can't give any tips. My tips were, just do it. Just make a character and start talking for him. She should listen to it and trust you. Let's see. Oh. So I'm trying to decide if Shelben would just say, I killed Alexander. Because, well, he wouldn't, actually, because it's not quite in his personality, but also, the last he saw, Alexander was still alive. He wasn't sure what happened to him. Suddenly, Shelben gets an idea. He says, I encourage you to be prudent. The Meister, from all I have heard and can see of her, is a powerful spirit. If she dies here, she may linger in the afterlife. She may linger in your home. You wouldn't want that, would you? To be haunted by the Meister for the rest of your days? Executioner Nyan says, a very good point.
I'll regret this, I know I will. All right, I'll stand aside.
The one thing that I said to myself that really helped, I can think of one tip, was you're going to... I said this to me, not to you. I said, Jessa, you don't know how to do this. You have never done it before, so how could you? So, poor Meister, I'm leaving hanging here for a minute, but just she'll live. Anyway, I said, you don't know how to do this. So, if you're scared, it's because you're afraid you're going to mess up, look stupid, whatever. Here's the deal. Because you don't know how to do this, you're going to mess up, you're going to look stupid, or, you know, maybe feel stupid for a little bit. But the only way you're going to get better is to do it. And no point in hiding in a corner and trying to do it, because you won't know until you get responses from other people if you're improving, doing well, not doing well, and listening to your own work. So if you think afraid to look bad, you just get over it, because you're going to look bad, period. You're just going to you're not going to be perfect. But if you just come at it with an attitude of, oh, well, I'm trying, everybody else will be like, it's no big deal. They'll be easy with you because you're being easy with yourself. And admitting that you just don't know, because you don't, till you try. Okay, so let's go to Meister here. The poor woman is hanging from the cords by her arms. Shelben walks up to her and says, "Let me help you. Let me help you." She looks half dead.
The lizard hangs from the gibbet, her face blood.
Yeah, okay.
To Driftwood, Godwoken.
I will say that the writers in this game are a little bit too fond of describing things with great deals of relish. Unnecessarily. Welcome to Driftwood, Godwoken.
One bloody eye cracks open, glittering gold appearing from beneath the swollen lid.
Chased you all the way here from Fort Joy, did they? Very well then, cut me down. There is work to be done. Or indeed you could stand there gawping as if you were a cow ordered to dance a reel. It is a masterful performance. I would applaud it, but well.
At least you are still cheerful and have some bit of spirit. Shelben reaches up to undo her restraints. He doesn't want to leave her hanging there any longer than he needs to.
Be quick about it. Who knows when that Magister might return?
Hello, Crafter. Welcome.
God's teeth, it feels good to move again. Now, let's scurry off before that Magister wanders back. Meet me at my home in Driftwood, and we can see what you're made of.
Shelben nods. I shall follow you. Freed, a very injured, sad woman. Look how beautiful she is. Wow. Wonderful animation. Shelben follows the wounded woman. And she makes her way across the river. Losa says, "Would you like my arm?" And the woman, grunting, declines. She walks in the door.
The Meister sits slumped in a chair, looking around the room as she works her shoulder with one hand. It looks like it was dislocated by the gallows.
Is that the old one, Skywookie, or the new one that came out last year? The remastered, or maybe it's a new, completely redone version. A lot of people say that Planscape is one of the best, if not the best RPG ever, but I've never been interested in trying it. Because I didn't like the graphics of the first game, and it's too much. It wouldn't make for. I don't think it'd make great content. This is a lot of reading. A lot of reading. Shelben says, "Let me help you."
Damnable red-cloak baboons ransacking my wardrobes. As if I would keep ancient valuable secrets in a pile with my unmentionables.
She takes a deep breath, and with a twist, a click, and a screech of pain, she shoves her shoulder back into its socket.
Shelben says, "Stop!"
I swear by the seven, if we did not have more important matters to attend to.
Shelben says, "Goodbye, Thunder. I have healing magic. I could help you."
Reaching across the table, she pulls a bowl of hot water towards her and fishes some bandages, a needle, and thread out of a box. She slowly starts to tend to her wounds.
At least the barbarians were unable to club their way into my vault, so everything you need should be safe.
Realizing that the woman does not want his healing magic, he and the party watch as she slowly wraps a cut on her arm. When Lohse offers to help, she waves Lohse away. Shelben says, Why did they do to you what they did? Why were you at the gallows?
Apparently I had a claw in murdering their darling divine-in-waiting Alexander.
The Meister wrenches the bandage, pulling the fabric tight against her wound. She winces before tying it off in a neat knot, but you can see the red stain already spreading across the fabric.
Never mind that. That I was here the entire time. Apparently my cunning transcends time, space, and common sense.
Unfortunately, and my companions, are the reasons that the Magisters are looking for Alexander's killer. Because if he is truly dead, though we thought him to be so once, we have done the deed.
Meister Siva freezes, her eyes locked on you, her claws mid-swipe, cutting a new stretch of bandage.
Why on earth should I have thought anything else?
Shelben almost defiantly puffs his chest and says, Well, I can tell you one thing, he started it.
Not that I was sorry to hear about his death. I doubt my grin helped matters during the interrogation.
So, what do we need to do next, Meister Siva? What now?
It is not enough to be Godwoken in order to ascend to divinity. There is a process.
A process? What, like I have to take a test or something?
As she speaks, the Meister uncorks a vial of shimmering liquid, sauce. She lets a couple of drops fall on her hand, but instead of infusing with her body, they quickly evaporate on her scales. She stares at the empty spot on her palm for a long moment before turning back to you, continuing as if nothing had happened.
Shelben stares, almost wondering what would be the difference between her palm and his, besides the obvious of hers being covered in scales. And then he looks up at her. That's what happens when people who are not, Godwoken. That's what happens when they touch source.
A process by which Godwoken may ascend. It begins with discovering your deepest self, delving into your own soul.
This process, delving into my own soul, I've already done that. In fact, I've met my God. But what? How?
We shall begin once we have the tools we need from my vault. You may have been chosen Godwoken, but becoming divine requires more than a supernatural pat on the head.
I should think talking directly to a god, to all the gods, would be enough. But fine. What need more I do?
Come, Godwoken. It is time to see just how awake you are. Fortunately, the Magisters pay as much attention to art as they do to fashion. Kindly remove that painting from the wall.
Shelben walks up. I'm going to separate him and the party for roleplay purposes. Shelben looks in the direction that she pointed, whichever direction that was, painting from a wall. And he sees, here, she coughs and nods. He grabs the painting, placing it down on the floor next to him. The rest of his party watch curiously.
Push the button.
Master Siva's voice intones him to push the button. He reaches out and with a slightly trembling finger does so. To his surprise, a hatch opens. There's a secret passageway there.
We can go nowhere until you open the safe in the floor. The combination is 15R, 34L, 23R, 35R, 9R, 16L, 33L, 45R, 51L, 1L.
If they expect me to remember that and type those numbers in, they are going to be sadly disappointed. Anybody want to write that down real quick? I'm just kidding, don't. Don't bother. I can see you guys whipping out pens. I didn't know there was gonna be a test. Okay, so yeah, let's head down. Shelben is very curious. All right, hatch with, I love it, hatch with intricate lock. I'm telling you, if some puzzle pops up, I'm gonna go ballistic.
A stone door lies flush with the floorboards. Etched whorls in the granite frame a delicate rotary dial. Gleaming under the dim light, the metallic dial almost seems to wink at you.
It winks and says, there ain't no way you're gonna remember that combination. Shelben says, what was it again? 34 right first? Ifan says, let me do it. I guess Ifan's got a photographic or maybe something like that memory. What's that called? Anyway, a memory he can remember. So we'll keep that in mind as part of his character. Ifan, without pausing, puts the numbers in.
Taking your time, you carefully enter the combination. The metallic sounds of the tumblers falling within the mechanism let you know you entered the code correctly.
I agree completely, Sky. People have asked me why I don't go to Twitch. There's numerous reasons, but I think the main reason is that there's another word for it, Crafter. That is not photographic. It's a kind of obscure word. Anyway, it's so integrated with my channel already. So, you know, if you're following me, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it'll show up in your subs list. You know, it's very nice. I've been very pleased with it. There are a few little things here and there that I don't like, but they're minor. Yeah, okay, so
Excellent.
we have opened this.
Follow me. Your time is at hand, Godwoken.
And despite the fact that she was hanging by her wrists for gosh knows how many days, or I should say gods know how many days, she lifts up this heavy hatch and drops down almost without effort. Shelben turns around and looks at the rest of the party. Shall we? Beast nods. No time like the present. I think that's it, Crafter. Yep, that's it. Yep. Thank you. Okay, so let's follow her. The party finds themselves in a cellar room, storage and whatnot about. Further in, Shelben is amazed to see a complete...
Weird contraptions. This place is an arcanist's dream.
A complete laboratory. He says this place is... It is amazing. Runes and potions of all types, and then his eyes bulge as he sees another huge fountain of source. Losa says, "Source!" And there we go. In the corner is some more potions and a book that says notes on the God-Woken Ascension. There's a warm fireplace and a chair where it seems that Meister Siva might have spent many an evening, with perhaps a mug of beer nearby. There are bookshelves, and all of it, despite being in a rather run-down cellar, gives the impression of being rather cozy. Shelben walks up to her. We're going to separate the party again. And just for roleplay sake, since this is really Shelben's part of the story, we'll separate them right here. And the party will listen on, as it were. The Meister sits, her arm and shoulder properly bandaged. She still looks exhausted, kind of gray. So, Thunder, since we're focused on Divinity Original Sin 2, if you want to ask me questions about roleplay and mods on Skyrim, this really isn't the best place because I want to stay focused on the game. In any case, for Meister Siva, because it'll slow down the roleplay. Let's talk to her.
The Meister is examining her wounds, prodding at this, wincing at that. Her face seems grim as she turns to you.
Do you know what it means to have the power of the divine, God-Woken?
Bye, Ralph. Shelben takes up a seat next to her, clasps his hands in his lap, and says, "Well, I suppose being divine gives you a lot of power, but I also imagine from what I learned from the god Rallick, it's a lot of responsibility. I would say in the end, though, that it's a power to make the world a better place. At least I hope so."
And you in your infinite wisdom would know what is better? You would judge your enemies without prejudice and make decisions that could hurt your own for the greater good?
Hi, Kimmy. Well, I suppose I would have infinite wisdom. I mean, isn't that what being divine is about? Part of it. I suppose I would learn to let go of whatever prejudices I might have. Yes, I think I could. I think.
No, becoming the divine means taking on the power of all the gods and the responsibility for all the races.
Shelben suddenly looks extremely tired.
The divine was created by the gods to shelter us from the void.
The divine was a person created by the gods to shelter Rivellon and all the races within it from the void.
The divine cannot use his power for anything else.
But... But what about for a friend? Like Lusa? Like, in order to help her? She has, well, something wrong with her. I can't say really more, but what about helping her? Or That would be all right.
When you become the divine, there is no more self.
So I couldn't do anything for myself or those I care about.
For just a moment, her eyes soften as she looks at you.
Shelben's eyes meet with that of Mr. Siva's, Meister Siva's. And in those eyes, he sees ages of life, many long years, studying, frustration, anger almost at being unable to be divine herself. And he is unable to hold her gaze. He looks down.
It is no small thing to ask, but it is your duty.
My duty, I guess.
Without a new divine, Rivellon will die.
I don't want that. I understand.
Very well, then. Let's see if we can't snatch Divinity from the jaws of the void.
Oh, thank you, Kimmy. Well, I like to think, at least, even in these small little live streams, that this is, I don't know, maybe not great storytelling, but I'm doing a pretty good job, I hope. All I'm saying is that I think that I'm trying to find as much greatness as I can in myself and my skills here in this medium, is what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm always striving for. Snatch Divinity from the jaws of the void? Well, how?
The ritual itself is quite simple. Drop some blackroot in the bowl, mix in a little blood, set the concoction aflame, and then inhale the smoke.
Oh! I thought it would involve a lot of humming and praying and kneeling on one's knees on the cold ground and putting the forehead to it. Oh, it's like cooking? Or alchemy or something? Well, I've read a lot of books on alchemy in the library at the keep. I could do this. Blackroot. A little blood. I don't like that, and especially if it's mine. Set the concoction aflame and then inhale the smoke. That's it. Well, give me some blackroot.
Ignore any feelings of dizziness, burning in your lungs, or a dire sense of existential dread. They're all perfectly normal, although you will need to sacrifice a little sauce along the way.
Sauce? Well, it won't be the first time I've been asked to sacrifice my own sauce.
Everything you need is here. Ingredients in the cupboard. Sauce in the glowing fountain. Ritual in the tome by the bookcase. Even an incinerator to provide a flame.
Very good. Ingredients in the cupboard, sauce in the fountain, yes. Ritual in the tome, all right.
The Meister looks back at her wounds, curiously prodding them as fresh blood oozes out, staining her claws.
Your cuts look very bad. Won't you let Losa look at them? I've seen her healing. It's quite good. Oh, also Beast can heal as well, too. His fingers are kinder than his tongue.
Quite.
Well then, if you're sure, all right.
Being torn asunder by a Voidwoken would be even more inconvenient. So if you wouldn't mind...
I wouldn't mind.
The Meister points sharply to the ingredients cupboard.
Have you ever seen the ritual performed before? As usual, Shelben's curiosity is overwhelming him, and he must ask.
Once, although not by a god-woken. My assistant did not believe that one had to be chosen by a god to become divine.
She did not?
She waves a bandaged hand absent-mindedly, wincing slightly.
A headstrong and thoughtless girl, but the experience was... was quite a... From observing her, I gather that the ritual involves inhaling the smoke, a lot of screaming, and a rather sudden death.
You let your assistant die, even though she wasn't godwoken and you knew what would happen, or I imagine you must have.
Well, certainly. It is not my place to police the stupidity of others.
Shelben is not sure how he feels about that, or even how he feels about Meister Siva yet.
I have to admit I was curious. Imagine if it had been a success. Why, then anyone could have ascended. Even I...
Shelben looks down at the table. Pink embarrassment coming into his cheeks. It's true, she does want to be a Godwoken.
Alas, success was beyond her reach. Quite fascinating to watch, though. I've never seen a body burn from the inside out before.
I am sure I'm Godwoken, or at least I've been told so by a god, so I suppose that it must be true, and it is not my day to die. And I guess there's no way forward. No way other than forward. I'll get ready for the ritual.
And do not lose anything. These ingredients are rare indeed. I'm not hiking back out to the cloisterwood to fetch you more blackroot.
Yes, Meister Siva. Shelben says in a very, respectful way. So, Meister Siva has, told Shelben that he needs to do a ritual. He walks over to the ingredient cupboard and finds within it...
You see a selection of ingredients, thrown together in no particular order.
He looks for the materials that he needs to complete the ritual.
After a quick rummage, you spot the blackroot nestled between the grated dragon's tongue and drudene oil. You gather up the blackroot, obsidian lance, and ancient bowl, and kick the door of the cupboard closed.
Nice description. Shelben is very, very curious to see what a grated dragon tongue looks like, but does not take a moment to look, overcoming his curiosity, at least for a little while. Shelben is not a witch. No, he is a Godwoken. We have the ingredients. And now I believe we need to set them down on the table. Let's see. Don't want to attack the table. Just want to kind of get over here, maybe. All right, oh, I know what that is. Oh, actually, shift. Can I just put that here? I don't want to sell the gold. That doesn't seem right. Okay, so we have, while we're at it, let's identify this ring. It might be useful. 27 magic armor. I don't want to get rid of this +1 summoning yet. Ritual bowl. We'll put the ritual bowl on the table. Do I need to combine with? I'm wondering if I need to combine with, actually. Let's do this. Let's use this. Yeah, let's use this knife. And that gives us a bloody obsidian lancet. And then if we take the, combine with ritual bowl and the bloody lancet, and let's see what that gives us. Perfect. A ritual bowl. We'll take the lancet and put it away in his special bag. Let's see if anyone else can use this ring. You know who I want to give this to, I think? Possibly Ifan. No, I don't. His rings are both very helpful to him. +1 summoning, delicate ring, level 4. She could use this. And we'll mark that for sale. Now, I believe we need to take this bowl and put it where we can get flame. What is this? Oh, incinerator control valve. Okay. That'll do it. All right. Shelben looks over at his companions rather nervously. Losa says, "You can do it, Shelben." And he's going to turn on the incinerator control valve. And let's stand here, get close to it. With one more nervous look at Miss Meister Siva, who waves her hand impatiently at him. Go on. He turns the control valve. Okay, and gets his butt burnt. There we go. Let's step into the smoke cloud.
As you suck the smoke deep into your lungs, your vision starts to swim and cloud. There is an intense pounding in your head, and you can feel the world fading.
He exhales quickly, coughing and sputtering up the fumes. I don't know if I can breathe this stuff. Meister says, breathe it in. It won't hurt you, probably.
As you suck the smoke deep into your lungs, your vision starts to swim and cloud. There is an intense pounding in your head, and you can feel the world fading.
He holds the fumes in after several tries and manages to ignore the deep throbbing thump, thump, thump inside his skull.
As the world fades away, you lose all sense of being grounded. You reach out, but you could feel yourself falling slowly, sinking into the depths of your own soul.
Shelben looks around him. He finds himself again in the Hall of Echoes. So this is the really neat thing about this game, is that Shelben is here, but as far as I know, there's no time when you can't go to your other companions. Like Beast and the rest of the companions are still here, talking to each other and wondering what happened to Shelben and whether he'll be back. Beast is saying to Meister Siva, that boy better be back in one piece. You know what I mean? So it's really cool. So if you wanted to really go into some deep role play, you could actually play out that Beast is doing something that Shelben never finds out about. Perhaps Beast is also God-woken. You could have Beast do the ritual and see what happens. I've never tried it, but you could do that. So you could make it so that the two companions are rivals to each other secretly or something. A lot of really awesome stuff you can do with this game. So Shelben finds himself again in the Hall of Echoes. A path opens before him, and as it is the only way to move forward, he walks still not 100% trusting that the path will not drop from beneath his feet and send him hurling into nothingness. The final path appears. I'd give a lot of credit. This game is very well designed. This is such a good game. Ralik? Ralik? Anyone? He sees nothing except the eerie quietness and the occasional gentle bells that he's heard before in this place, and then he peers ahead. There's someone there. He looks familiar. It is I. It is myself. Is that you, Rallick, dressed as me in some way? Haven't taken my form? Shelben and Shelben stand face to face. Is that... Who are you... Me?
Bathed in the half-light of these starless barrens, you spot a figure you could only describe as a second self. It looks haggard and weak, its very voice but a feeble echo of your own.
Are you unwell?
My chosen. Come closer, so that you may see me, as I truly am.
Shelben is very frightened, and he is unable to move.
Stubborn as ever, but you will look me in the eyes.
Who are you?
The apparition clasps your face in its shaking hands. You suddenly feel your eyes tingle. Everything becomes brighter, sharper. Blacks and whites become glorious bursts of color, then fade back into their accustomed spectrum.
I also love the narrator.
Blind eyes, shine brightly. Speak the spell and see.
You learned spirit vision. Cast this spell regularly to reveal a hidden world of ghosts lingering in the mortal realm. Shelben shakes his head free of the apparition's hands. Let go of me. And then we get a terrible thing in a thing. Okay. Then we get a bad camera angle. That's what we get. The figure stares at him. Shelben asks him several more questions, curiosity overcoming him, but the apparition, or whatever it is, says no more. Shelben says, "A spell." So, we'll see if that's true, Bailey, as the story goes on, because the Divinity story is very deep, and things that you do in Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 that you have no idea could be of the smallest significance end up playing major points in the later end of the game. So he has given us spirit vision. Here it is. Spirit vision, your eyes pierce the veil of the Hall of Echoes. So I will give you full disclosure. I have a mod which makes this spell infinite, meaning that I don't have to, the way you normally do it is it lasts for a certain number of minutes and then goes away. So you have to remember to click it in certain areas. And because there are ghosts all over Rivellon, you might easily forget to click it and miss something pretty important. So this is toggleable now. You turn it on, and then if you want to, you can turn it off. I'm going to leave it on, probably. And the mouth of the apparition opens, and it says, "Cast it. Cast it. Cast it." Cast it? All right. It costs 1 action point.
Gone is the strange mirror image of yourself. Before you stands the god Rallick in all his spectral glory.
Rallick, it's you! I knew it was you pretending to be me somehow.
You know me now, don't you? I saved you from drowning. I blessed you, made you powerful. And now I've come to seek some power in return.
I have no power to give. Only source. I don't even know if that's infinite in me or if I can be drained of it. But if you need something, my God, my Lord, I will give it so.
Your God-woken soul is my last refuge, my last bastion. May as well make the best of what you have to offer.
An interesting thing that's beginning to happen to Shelben is that he's turning into, his speech is becoming somewhat archaic. It's started to slip out here and there when he's in conversation with his god, or in the Hall of Echoes, or doing something that is, when he particularly is feeling God-woken as opposed to just an ordinary person. You will make refuge in me, my lord? You mean take over the voice that's in my head, the voice of the Voidwoken, of the void itself? I would welcome that, if that could be so.
Rallick nourishes himself from the source that abounds in your presence. You feel it deep down inside yourself.
A source cloud flows from the god to Shelben, right into Shelben's solar plexus, and suddenly he feels, awake, alive, relaxed, renewed, no longer tired.
Ah, yes. Just what I needed. I tell you, dying just doesn't become a god.
Does that mean I am no longer able to die as well? The god shakes his head slowly. Well then... Alright, if I am not immortal, that means that you are immortal, aren't you? You couldn't die, right?
Immortality is only permanent, my dear, until one day it simply ceases to be.
Okay, that's kind of the opposite of permanent, I'm just saying. Like, permanent means like permanent. It's just me.
The void itself is hunting down the gods, leeching us in ways we never thought possible. Droplet by droplet, we are being drained.
Oh, it is the void. See, the void is the one who somehow was taking you when you were hanging from the tree, and when the source, so your source was draining, so now you are putting yourself inside me, somehow using my source to survive. Damned.
We're battling for our very survival. It's a battle we're losing, and should we truly lose, all will be cast into oblivion.
There must be a way to save you and the gods. You've told me all the trouble that you are having, but how to save you?
To save us both,
by mothering,
as a matter of fact.
To save us both. I save me, I save you. I fail, we all fail.
You must realize that our fates are now as one, just as our souls are now as one. We are I.
Ha! So I am no longer Shelben Riley Katte. I am Shelben Riley Katte? Ha! I rather like it.
Together we are a force to be reckoned with. But if we seek to survive the onslaught of the void, we stand no chance unless we become vastly more powerful than we are now.
And for those of you watching later on, I'm going to put that into a chat. Shelben was born Shelben Riley Katte, christened well, I don't know, whatever is the equivalent of christened in Rivellon. Shelben Riley Katte. And he is going to take on the new name of Shelben Riley Katte Though I don't know if he'll be brave enough to say that out loud. But in his heart, we'll see. He is changing as a character.
That means there is but one place we can go. The Well of Ascension.
I have heard of the Well of Ascension. I have read about it. In the books in the library, one particular book. It is a fabled birthplace of gods, right?
It most certainly will be. The Well of Ascension is a lake, a pool of pure source in which the powers of the seven lie united.
A pool of pure source, but there is pure source or source fountain in Mr. Siva's cellar. Why not would that do?
We gave them up freely to create the first divine. Each of us donated half of that which makes us gods. To bathe in the lake is to become our chosen.
Oh. So a simple little source fountain is not nearly enough to bring back yourself and all other seven gods. All right. I understand.
That is where the road to divinity leads, and you must be the first to reach it at all costs.
So you just gave up your powers?
It was a time of selflessness and sacrifice in the face of our old enemy. It was an act of heroism and a dreadful mistake. A mistake we must rectify.
So you gave up half of your source, half of yourself, your being, all of you did, in order to create a divine, some sort of, a divine from one of the races who could protect Rivellon from Void. I see.
The Void is stronger than ever. A new divine won't be enough. You need to go to the Well of Ascension, not to bathe in the source of the seven, but to take it. All of it.
I can't take it. I mean, what would I carry it in anyway, first of all? And second of all, why?
Only he who claims everything will be everything. The Void's doom. This world's liberator.
I don't want to be everything. What about the other gods?
It's very simple, really. They will either bow to you or be undone.
Shelben doesn't like this at all.
But of course, that is what they are saying to their own Godwoken as we speak. We both know they won't bow, just like we both know you will never bow to them.
Inside Shelben's head, a little voice is saying, I would, if it would save my life, if it would keep Rivellon, if Lohse would live.
Only one can become a god strong enough to safeguard our world. One, at the expense of all others.
He's quiet for once.
So make no mistake, my champion. Chances are the road to divinity will be paved with dead gods, their blood on your murderous hands.
I don't like this.
But don't let that dismay you. For these sins will be washed clean by the knowledge you committed them to save all of existence. To save your kin, and your loved ones, and the world they live in.
Shelben suddenly hears Lohse's voice saying, it was like a family. It was like rain turned into sunshine. He remembers Lohse's voice saying that, what we heard in the beginning of this episode. When the god says, your loved ones, Lohse's eyes and face materialize in front of him in his imagination. He doesn't have any kin, but he does have a loved one. I wish to work with others and not against them. I don't want to be a tyrant. I don't want to if that's what I need to succeed.
Of course, the ends do justify the means.
I don't know if that is right, Rallick.
Life, or the eternal void.
Once again, nothing he can say. He just stops and considers those. Life, Rivellon, Losa, fresh air, sea, sun, sky, the keep, beast, Ifan, or the eternal void.
If you choose life, you choose the well of ascension. I will lead you there when you're ready, when you've become a true master of the source and speak the language of creation itself.
I need to become the master of source, Shelben says, suddenly tired again. Just tired at the thought of it all. Even though he can feel the god's luminous presence inside his body and his solar plexus shining out from it, it still doesn't take away the thought of what he needs to do.
Our journey will be fraught with peril. It is a pilgrimage of challenges that will require you to command Source like only a Godwoken can, and wield its most powerful spell.
A pilgrimage of challenges that will require you to command Source like only a Godwoken can, wield its most powerful spells. Thank you, Sky, for coming. I appreciate it. He's not sure what to see here. If I am to become a master of the source, as you say I must, then surely there's no better tutor than you. You are inside me now. I wouldn't be able to hear your voice, would I not?
Hoarse laughter rolls and echoes into infinity.
You flatter me, my chosen. But if all I had to do was give, you would have long since have received. We are I now. The spells you need to know I will teach you when you are ready. But first you must learn to channel the source in greater volumes. That is why you need to seek Masters of the Source.
Masters of the Source? Besides yourself?
You must make them teach you, so that you may become a master in turn. So, return to Rivellon and seek out these sages where they dwell. Convince them to share with you their deep-seated bond with the Source.
Hello, sister. Welcome. We're deep in some really revealing plot and some major character development right here. Return to Rivellon. Seek out these sages. Share with you their deep-seated bond with the Source. All right?
Once you have, you may return to me here.
What did you do, by the way, to my eyes? The ability to see you now instead of seeing some image of myself?
Something that will make you understand that for a god, there is precious little difference between the living and the dead.
Well, you kinda missed a lot, but that's alright, because you can watch it later. I'd be lying if I said you hadn't missed much. And the dead. So if there is precious little difference between the living and the dead for a god, then does it... Shelby is confused, wondering why, if everything dies, what would it matter to a god? It would matter a great deal to him. Maybe he'll understand with time.
Source is. It is a constant, a subject of neither time nor transience. All of life is Source, and in Source it is, immortally so.
But what of death? Is death void? The god... We'll see. Probably will choose not to answer such a question. at this time.
You have the vision of a god now. Eyes that can see spirits, the souls of the dead made manifest in Source.
Ah. So, they're like Source spirits. Even if they weren't Source users themselves. I see.
Speak the spell during your peregrinations, and you will see them. Where the dead lie, the dead linger.
Hello, Watt. What is, that's a great word. Peregrinations. Peregrinations. I don't know that word, but I'm gonna look it up.
Best of luck, my champion.
The god reaches out a hand to Shelben, touches the place where he lies in Shelben's body, that solar plexus area there. And then nothing. Stands there, saying nothing. To Shelben's right, a smoke cloud appears. The god waves at the smoke cloud.
Go now. Rivellon and its masters await.
My lord.
The Meister stares intently at you. Her eyes are tired and bruised, but determined.
So the Meister, this is kind of a bad camera angle, but the Meister is just down here in the corner.
Still alive? Gods above, there might be something to you after all.
Shelben is just too tired to speak for once. He's not overwhelmed with curiosity. He's just overwhelmed with overwhelm.
She leans in, her bloody tongue flickering hungrily about your face.
Tell me, what did you see? What you know?
Oh, nah. He considers saying that, you know, holding back the secrets, but then he remembers Melody jumping on him and chewing on his ear. He is afraid with the Meister so close that he will do the same. She will do the same. And so he responds and tells her what happened. There's a god within me, and I have a new power, and I need to find some people called Masters of Source.
She sighs impatiently as you hack up the last of the green smoke.
You can't channel enough Source? Gods be damned, why couldn't you have a nice simple problem? Finding
Thank you, Watt.
dance the hornpipe, perhaps.
Thank you for doing that, and also for those of you guys watching, please hit the thumbs up button if you are enjoying what you are seeing. You can't channel enough Source, gods be let's see. Finding an orc to dance the hornpipe. Okay. I can't imagine that it's easy to just open up channels to the Source. I would imagine that you would know that.
Indeed not. And ever more difficult when you've been purged. I was a Master of Source once, but no longer. The Magisters saw to that.
It is because of the Magisters that you cannot absorb Source. Thank you, Morgwen.
The river of my Source has been dammed. My link to the font from which it flows, severed.
That is very disheartening.
So we must seek alternatives. Alas, the only Source Masters not yet hauled off to Fort Joy or turned into meat puppets are those too dangerous or cunning for the Magisters to contain. Sorcerers that allowed their power to corrupt them. Many are wicked, cruel, vile, and generally not good teacher material, but we may have no others to turn to.
I need to ask sorcerers who allowed their power to corrupt them to teach me about Source? What? Why? I need to train under evil?
You will not be there long, I assure you. There is only so much you can glean from a twisted mind.
So I'm going to actually scroll up because I missed something. She says we need to seek alternatives. Alas, the only Source Masters... Oh, because the only ones still available in the world who have not been hauled off by the Magisters. That's why. Okay, all right. And the only ones left are the ones that are too dangerous for the Magisters to contain or to mess with. Okay.
However, it is the path we walk, no matter what the cost, no matter what is asked of you.
This is all very tragic and throwing oneself upon one's sword.
The Meister doubles over in a violent coughing fit, struggling for breath. After a few moments, she regains her composure, wiping a thin smear of blood from the corner of her mouth.
No matter what is asked of you, you must learn from them.
I'd like to know where I can find these masters. I'd also like to know why you won't accept help with your healing, but it is no matter.
The Magisters have kept ledgers with all known sorcerers, especially the powerful ones not yet captured. They would be an invaluable resource.
All right. The Magisters have some ledger I need to find.
But be careful not to get caught. I was their guest for a time, and I promise you the gallows was the most comfortable part of the experience.
I understand.
And if their barracks turns out to be as empty as their skulls, just try to keep an ear to the ground. There may still be powerful sorcerers hiding in these lands.
I'm sure that Losa, who is very good with the art of stealth, can help us find these papers.
As she speaks, one of her wounds reopens.
I wish there was more I could do, but in this condition, I would be more a hindrance than a boon. Godspeed, and remember, do whatever it takes.
Thank you, Watt. That's very kind. I'm still working on it. Whatever it takes. Shelben is not sure he's capable of doing whatever it takes, but he knows that it's pointless to argue. He's not been able to argue with the gods, so he doesn't know how he'd be able to argue with Meister Siva. I will be back as soon as I can. Thank you, I suppose. And in front of him, as Shelben pulls his eyes away from Meister Siva, we'll need that bowl again, I suspect. In front of him stands the spirit of an apprentice. Shelben's seen the spirit of a god, so he's not even surprised anymore. He just walks up to her and says, "Hello."
The spirit of an elegant elven woman materializes before you. She seems surprised.
You can see me. A god woken in my presence. You honor me.
I can see you, yes. I don't think anyone else can, though. Why did you risk it? If you are aware of the dangers. It was so foolish.
The spirit looks at you regretfully.
It is hard to hear of such power and not covet it for yourself. I lie to myself and convince myself that I am special. But I am not special. I am dead.
Shelben looks at the spirit. She looks at him, and a long moment passes. Shelben shakes his head regretfully and takes his leave. At this point, we are now going to go to, we're going to go to break here. And I'm going to put myself on the screen. We're going to go to a quick break. About 5 to 7 minutes. And in the meantime, I'm going to give you something to listen to. And after that, we will see about finding more spirits to talk to, as well as finding this list of sorcerers that are so powerful that even the Magisters can't contain them, as we begin our first leg of our quest to become divine and save the ones we love and ourselves. I am so glad you joined me, so we will be back after break. And in the meantime, I want you to enjoy the music of Rivellon. See you in a few minutes. Hey there. You're watching the Jessa Channel on YouTube. I'm Jessa, and today you are here with me live. Welcome back from break, everyone. We're going to go right back into the story without a lot of fiffling and faddling about, because we have some source masters to find. And those source masters are going to be probably evil because all of the good and kind source masters were already caught by the Magisters. Welcome, sister. Thank you. Welcome back to you as well. So, after I get my wedding rings back on again, we'll head back into the game. And as usual, Ping is happily behind me. Ping and Nantuk and Harvard had a bit of a party. Let's just put it that way. They're party dudes. Okay, so let's head back into the world of Rivellon. All right. First of all, let's gather our party together. Shelben walks over to his companions and tells them a little bit about what happened, but as always, keeping some of it to himself because of how private it is, and he does not let them know that he now has the god Raylick in his, basically toting a ride inside his very self. And let's get some source and infuse ourselves here. Also, let's do what is really most enjoyable to do in this game and loot the heck out of everything. Let's do that now. Incinerator control valve, book. We will pick up all the books. Anything that we can sell for a goodly amount of coin, we will do so. Firestorm grenade. We'll leave the grotesque jar. I don't believe it sells for anything. Bucket. We don't need a bucket. Empty bottle. Would be good. Ink pot and quill sells all right. Black fabric dye. Let's take that. We might be able to use it at some point. Yep. Panda party. That's exactly right. Painting of a man. We'll leave the paintings for now. On Source Orbs, Part 3. We'll read that quickly. Sensor. What's a sensor? Stove sensor. It just looks like a bowl to me. It's spelled differently than censor your words. It's very good to see you here today, sister. Empty bottle. These are all good things for crafting, so, you know, we're gonna do what any good, respectful person would do and rob this place blind, basically. Bottle filled with oil. Sets poison for 3 turns. I'll take it. It might be good for crafting. Cup of oil. Meister looks the other way while we rob her blind. Oh, that's the best way to watch multitasking. That's usually the way I do it. I listen to something in the background. A small pouch. We don't need any other things for keeping, I don't think. Vial, kitchen, something for... I'm taking the empty bottles because I think they'll make, for crafting, I think they'll make... Can't reach. Okay. Notes on Voidwoken Ascension. Oh, in a cupboard. We could use that chain lightning scroll, but we will pass on the wheat. Meister Siva instructs me to record my research before I conduct any experiences regarding God-Woken Ascension. The ritual itself is quite simple, so this talks about the ritual we just did. The ingredients for this ritual are not rare per se, but may be difficult to procure. I am fortunate that Meister's source fountain never runs low, so it's simple to gather source. Black root, however, is another matter entirely. The root grows in the forest to the northwest of Driftwood. We'll keep that in mind because we might need it again. It produces no poison or thorns to guard it, but all manner of creatures stalk those trees. It is wise to quickly grab what one needs and then return. I pray that my experience here pave the way for future scholars, or should I succeed, to allow any to be the equals of God-Woken. Oh. That didn't happen. Treatise on Humanity, important. I mostly collect the books just because Shelben would. Medusa Head Skill Book. That might be useful. Artillery Plant Scroll. We'll definitely take any scrolls we can find. Energy Chest. Source Ore. Glowing brightly with a spectral blue brilliance. It almost hurts to gaze at it for too long. This source orb can be used to gain a source point, or used in place of a rune on your equipment, or used as an ingredient in special crafting recipes. Use it wisely. Wow. So since you may not be able to respond, I will not ask you what you're cooking, but I hope it's good. Evasive Aura. Mass Cleanse Wounds. Venomous Aura. So putting this Evasive Aura on Losa's necklace, for example, could be. But I wonder if you put it on there, if you try and take it off, if it gets used. I don't know. We're going to have to just try it and see. But that's a concern. I might want to save before trying it to see. Okay, over here. I do find it useful to look in the crates and stuff. Because we have Lucky Charm. Which means a lot of times we do find something of interest. But not today. Not, or at least not right now. Nice, see? An unidentified wand. Oh, wait. It'd be helpful if I actually took it. Excellent. Oh, missed a crate. I hope you all find the sound of crates opening and closing soothing. Because... hatch with intricate lock, desk... Let's see if we can find anything of value in a chicken foot. No, thank you. No, thank you. Thank you very much, but no. Tales of the Seven Gods. Feats of the Four. Shelben's thinking, she won't miss this. T is for troll. Plus, you know, of course, the developers put this here for you to actually use them. Soap. Which is good in a way for making keys if you need to quickly, so I'll take it just in case. For making lockpicks, I mean. Soap and a key of any kind will make a lockpick. Empty bottles. Water barrel bucket. Cupboard. We will not take poor Meister's shoes. On the origins of Lucian, a wood pile. We might get some. Nah. Kitchen pot. Bunch of stuff from her kitchen. We're not gonna take all her food. Bottle rack. Yeah, potions. Potion bottles. That's what I was hoping for. And a cupboard. Another empty bottle. We're gonna be good on empty bottles for a while. Meaty stew. Okay, we will not steal poor Siva's food. her washing up area here. Laundry area, it looks like. Okay, so we're all caught up on Source and went through a lot there, so let's save that. Shelben sees the little girl that told him that Meister Siva was being harmed, and he endeavors to talk to her.
The Meister's back! The Meister's back!
She is, yes. I'm very glad to know it. Thank you for your help.
She doesn't feel like playing, but...
She won't feel like playing for some time. Leave her be and let her rest. Alright, so... let's see what we have here. So the first thing that we need to do... Let's look at our journal and clear things out of it. I like to do this, mark them all as red, and then just kind of quickly review them. So... somewhere out there lay the means to gain true mastery over source magic. We've already looked at what we need to do for Beast. The wrecked caravan, tribe of Sahelia, law of order, a rare prey. Alright, so I think our most important thing to do is that it says here there are only a few sorcerers who can teach us. The Magisters have records of them at their barracks nearby. We must get this information and track down the sorcerers who can tutor us. Let's focus on that. So I don't suspect we'll just be able to waltz in here and get this. I don't think that's the case. As they walk up to the stairs, Shelben says, "There's a proclamation here."
Let it be known henceforth to each and every subject here and everywhere that, in the absence of our beloved Alexander, Bishop Divine, slain with malice and injustice by foul sorcerers...
I love it how there's like, the S's are F's.
...as were let fly by the perfidious lizards of the ancient empire, with the aid and abettancy of the treacherous dwarven kingdom.
So the Magisters are saying that Alexander was killed by lizards of the ancient empire? Let me just scroll back again. With foul sorcerers. Oh, and that lizards of the ancient empire and treacherous dwarves somehow had something to do with this.
The Divine Order of Lucian is now led by his son's most trusted intimate and advisor, Dallis, Hammer of the Divine, Savior of the Sorcerers, and new deliverer of the peoples of Rivellon.
I see. Well, it's gonna be like that, is it? Alright, fine. We killed him, we can kill her.
The Hammer shall take counsel from her most trusted advisors.
Okay, the first thing she should do is tell her trusted advisors what the letter S looks like.
Hail to the Hammer, 7 times blessed.
It's blessed with an S. Whatever.
Dallis leads the order. Lucian will be rolling in his grave.
The dead don't care. It's the living who should be fearful.
Agreed. Well, then it must be true. Lucian must really, truly be dead. Not Lucian, Alexander. Bishop Alexander. Lucian's long dead. Lucian is not in this game. Lucian is from Divinity Original Sin. First game. Well, let's just see if we can just take a look about. As Shelben walks into the room, he sees a frightened Magister on the chair next to him. She says her name is Magister Belworth.
My inkwell is dry. Fetch me some
right
more.
Away.
And before he can get a word in with her and find out where they are and where the barracks are and somehow do a little bit of scouting and reconnaissance here, she's called by the angry Magister. Then she soon takes her seat. Shelben says, "Excuse me."
I'm watching you, stranger.
Stop these disappearances. My career is at stake.
Yes, I just wondered what this place was.
Bellwether, I need those reports, damn it.
Of course, sir. Right away.
The Magister startles, realizing there's a stranger in his midst.
What do you want? You can't just come in here as you please. There's Magisters missing. I'm trying to conduct a bloody investigation.
Yes, I'm new to the area. I didn't mean to intrude. I thought this might be the inn.
Well, mind your bloody step in future. I've an investigation to carry out, and I don't need any more distractions.
An investigation? A fugitive?
Yes, a vile little tinkerer goes by the name of Higba. 3 of my Magisters have gone missing of late from right here in Driftwood. All signs are that Higba is responsible.
Oh, the ghost was her assistant, yes. And she appeared after we learned spirit vision from the god Relic. Higba, you say? He must be rather fearsome to have bested Magisters by himself.
Hardly. By all accounts, he seemed like just another money-grubbing nobody. He must have caught my Magisters unawares. It's the only explanation.
I suppose you're right.
No matter. He'll face justice either way. If you catch sight of that dog, tell me or my men at once. Understand? There might even be a reward in it for you.
Of course, Shelben says, completely pretending. I'd be happy to serve the Magisters in the realm. The disappearances...
Well, do you know anything?
No, I have nothing to report right now. I just wanted to make sure you had told me all that you could.
Stop wasting my time, then.
Of course. Well, I will see myself out. That is not the place to find more information, but if we could perhaps find this fugitive, maybe we could use it to our advantage. I'm just curious
More
about this.
Humans, just what we needed.
About this young woman here. Just wondering about some of the people here in Driftwood.
Good day to you.
And they're not very friendly, so we'll make our way onwards. 24 noblemen executed by Queen Justinia for insubordination. That's the queen of the Dwarven Kingdom.
Magisters dropping left and right. Can't say I'm shedding any tears.
So it looks like this is the way. Well, let's go see where it is. Let's see what the way is. What is it? Whoa! Hello! Got a little close there. Oh, I see. It's, that's where we just were, so it's just the opposite entry here. And in here, looks like, yeah, the inn and whatnot. Just curious what's back here. Oh, Shelben says, they've broken the bridge to keep Voidwoken from coming in at night, I would imagine. Or some sort of bandits. As they walk by, they hear a mumbling coming from what is obviously a privy.
Why the devil is this stall out in the open? Oh, the heavens!
It seems that someone is in a bit of distress. Shelben feels the call of nature. Let's see if he can answer it.
I'll stay out of there, thanks.
Okay, maybe not. Okay, another proclamation. Yeah, no, no TP.
You've got enough in front of you, elf.
May the seven usher us to paradise.
A great deal of noise, the smell of hot stew, and various other smells assault Shelben's nose, and he decides it might be best to go in the front door. A signpost here.
Driftwood, home of the Black Bull Tavern.
Oh, the Black Bull Tavern. Well, perhaps we might find some news here. And even more so, find out where the prison is. So, what I'm curious about is the barracks, Meister's house, Magister leadership. I'm not sure where the prison is in Driftwood, so hopefully we'll run across it somehow.
Useless. Bloody useless. Might as well have rotted in the death fog. What's even the point?
A troubled elf sits over papers, looking very busy, and mumbling to himself.
No rest until the killer is found.
His name is Stuart.
An elf in tattered red robes shifts through pages of handwritten notes spread across the table.
So many suspects. So many potential culprits. I need to narrow down the list. Think, you damn elf, think.
A floorboard creaks beneath your foot. The elf leaps around abruptly.
I'm sorry, I meant no harm. I'm just...
What? Why do you sneak up on me? Don't you know how dangerous that is, the way things are?
What do you mean?
Haven't you heard?
Be particular. Heard what?
My own Magister comrades are vanishing from right here in Driftwood. Whoever's behind it must be stopped. If you hear anything, come to me.
Is this something to do with the Higba trader person? What do you know about these disappearances?
3 Magisters vanished so far, all within Driftwood. My comrades believe some tinkerer named Higba is behind it all, but they're wrong. I'm certain of it.
But why are you so certain? I spoke to your, well, I imagine your leader. He was very certain that Higba was responsible.
He might be a greedy little junk peddler and a sorcerer to boot, but hardly capable of seizing Magisters.
Then wouldn't you inform the Magisters? Or perhaps they don't believe you?
They won't listen to me. Not anymore.
Well, I'm imagining there's some reason behind it. Shelben looks at his robes. I see you wear the robes of a Magister. Why wouldn't they listen to you?
I was removed from their ranks due to my elven blood. I'll continue to serve, though. I won't stand to see my comrades taken by some vile traitor.
Losa jumps in and says, it sounds like you have been treated most unfairly.
If they won't heed my advice, I'll still do what I can. I'll find this devil myself if I have to. This tavern is key. Of that much I'm sure. It would be far too easy for the culprit to hide in such a place. If you see anything suspicious, let me know.
But the Magisters abandoned you. Like they abandoned me. If anything, you'd probably make for a more likely suspect in their eyes. I know. From which I speak.
What? I serve with utter loyalty now and forever. Now get away from me and don't come back unless you have information I can use.
Fine. All right, that gives us 3,000 experience points. We are racking up those experience points as we open the heavy oaken doors of the Black Bull Tavern.
The path thus ended, the conclusion of a noble bloodline. Who shall rise? Who gains the title most divine?
There's a very hardy dwarf on the table with a pile of tips in front of him, obviously a bard.
Against all the odds.
A few people stand and talk to him. Shelben says, "Hey there."
Weep! You have interrupted my newest masterpiece.
Oh, I'm sorry. It sounded very good from what I could hear.
The bard clears his throat and gargles on his own saliva.
Ew.
Well, never you mind. Every sonnet I compose is a masterpiece, and my muse has been begging me to write something new.
Something new? Huh.
You might be just the stimulus I needed. I shall craft a rhyme for you and your race. All I ask in return is a handful of coins. It's an offer of a lifetime.
You'd write a rhyme? You mean like a sonnet, like a real poem? About me? That's... Well, of course! And before Beast can go, hey, hold on a second there, boy. Shelben has grabbed his hand into his coin purse, taken out a pile of coins, and put it in the bard's hands. I've read so many stories. Could you make one about dragons? I met a dragon once. Or perhaps how... Well, a battle on a ship, perhaps.
Magnificent. But if I am to write a first-rate work, you must face some difficult questions. Are you prepared to answer?
Yes, I'm prepared to answer. I'm prepared to talk about the dragon and that fight on the ship and, breaking out of a dark fort and lots of combat and battle, but you'd better not write about Mr. Buns because, well, he is very... The ladies might not like it. Shelben doesn't want to admit that he doesn't want Mr. Buns to overshadow him.
He stares at you for a few torturing moments,
wondering what the heck Shelben is talking about, and then...
Your eyes betray the guilt of the human race. You believe it your right to ravage Rivellon. What say you?
What? That I do? My eyes betray guilt? Losa, do my eyes betray guilt? And Shelben opens up his eyes very wide and blinks a couple of times at Losa. Losa smiles and says, of course not. He's just a bard. Humor him, Shelben, if you must. All right. I shall humour him. I tell you that it is through human might that Rivellon can find peace. Believe me, I know of what I speak.
He smiles a crooked smile and runs a hand through his greasy hair.
Icky. Shelben watches, waiting for him to ask him about the dragon.
Ah, arrogance! That most peculiar of human traits, given your lack of cultural accomplishment. Save the towers you erect in worship of greed. What riches do you seek, human?
I don't like this story. I think this will make a terrible sonnet. Well, what has made me the most happy in the last few weeks? Well, it's my fellowship of my companions. So I seek fellowship, more of it. I wouldn't say no to fortune, but it is not what I most want.
Indeed. You seem almost fearless in your conviction. But I know better. Stripped of their swords and shields, humans are as fragile as flower petals. Admit your cowardice.
I'm not going to admit my cowardice. I mean, sometimes I do feel a bit scared. And there's that one time when I do believe I might have, when I saw that shrieker, soiled my, well, no. Humans are defined by our steadfastness and courage, I think, usually.
The bard hems and haws, then bellows his next words to anyone who might hear.
Don't forget the part about the dragon!
To all lovers of verse, I bring glorious news. I have completed another modern classic. Listen now, and bask in its resounding refrain.
Shelben says to everyone, shush, shush, sit down, listen, it's going to be very good. It's very exciting towards the end.
Small portions, same size and price for everyone.
Establishes control.
Stop peering over me shoulder.
Sound the horn and shout the battle cry.
If the
Tis through their might that peace may multiply.
No
of silver, gold, and diamonds now dispose.
You better hope they never come for intolerant
With friends and lovers, find your true repose. So journey forth and tread the proper trail. And shout to all, the humans must prevail.
What about the dragon? It was a winter dragon. You forgot that part too.
The war drums keep the rhythm of patrol.
The bard completely ignores him and goes into verse 2. I'm fed up. And then Shelben turns around in a huff and walks directly into the path of a ghost.
The spirit of a Magister stares dumbly at her translucent hand, the fingers of which have been sheared off.
Hi, Wolf. Welcome, I'm glad you're listening. And sister, I completely agree. Shelben is, absolutely adorable. He really is. But he's an interesting character. He's very enjoyable. He's interesting because he's growing and changing. But still, in his core, he's the same old Shelben. It's good fun. Shelben can't help to notice her translucent hand missing its fingers. Shelben says, a spirit, another one. He looks around. His companions stand talking to themselves, Ifan saying, I'm hungry. I'd love some stew, and Beast saying, I wouldn't mind a good leg of mutton or something. And while they're talking amongst themselves, none of them seem to see this spirit. At least not yet. Shelben talks to her quietly, so as not to be seen talking to nothing. What happened to your hand?
My ring. Where's my ring?
What happened to you?
The spirit pivots her wrist, staring at the fingerless hand, utterly, morbidly entranced.
I should have been more careful. She hacked at my sword hand first. I couldn't defend myself.
You died? Recently?
The spirit's lips part, trying to form an answer. But it doesn't come. She forlornly stares at you, unable to find the words.
Are you one of the missing Magisters? Which is kind of a silly question because she's obviously missing. She's dead. But I think he would ask it because that's Shelben.
The spirit looks at you with the smallest flicker of realization.
I was still alive when she started cutting pieces off me. She wanted me to feel it. All of it.
Who is she? Who is she?
The spirit inclines her head towards the kitchen.
Shelben looks at the kitchen in shock. In there? You were killed in there? Where's your body?
The spirit ponders your question and seems to shiver.
Oh, in many places. I feel my body in 100 moving graves. Warm.
What
are you gonna do then?
Uh-oh. I don't know if you guys pieced that together, but Shelben stands there and thinks for a minute.
Same as before, the spirit remains locked in a shocked trance.
The ring! It was right here, on my finger!
I'm talking to her again just because I just wondered if she had more to say. Shelben is just shocked, and then he says, "Do you mean inside people?" She says nothing. "I need more information. I need to help you."
I remember it was warm. There was smell. Cinnamon. She took my uniform. I heard it crackling in her hearth.
Cinnamon. Overwhelmed with curiosity, Shelben decides to talk to the woman behind the counter, whose name is Prudence.
A prim woman in a starched apron wipes a glass with a clean rag. She pins you with blue, steel-sharp eyes as you approach the bar.
Blessings upon our Lucian, 7 times divine.
Shelben remembers something he read numerous times in several books. The old greeting, common greeting a generation ago. And he responds, "And his 7 blessings upon us, undeserving it was, yes. And his 7 blessings upon us undeserving."
The soft lines of her face fold into a warm smile. She sets the glass on the counter and pours you a generous portion of an amber liquor.
"Oh, thank you."
I see your mother raised you very well indeed. You and my Niles would get along. Nice to see an unfamiliar face. What brings you to Driftwood, darling?
Shelben remembers a man named Niles that they defeated in battle. He was a horrible man. Shelben says, "Niles, a man about yay tall, with hay-colored hair, and, eyes sort of blue-gray. No facial hair."
Yes, that's my boy. Did you know him? Finest physician in all of Reaper's Coast. Top of his class. My, but it's been too long since I've seen him.
I never met him. I only heard of him.
Too bad. I taught that boy right. Abstinence and chastity. That's what we learned in our household.
That's cool, because the knives that you pick up, the daggers you pick up from him, are called abstinence and chastity.
And look at him now. A physician in the Divine Zone Order. The lessons paid off, they did.
They did, yes. Well, they did that.
Anyhow, what can I get you?
I've heard that someone in this tavern might be responsible for a recent string of Magister disappearances. Do you know anything about it?
And where did you hear that? That disgraced elf who's been loitering outside my establishment since he was rightfully removed from his position?
No, not him at all. Not not him. I think it was someone else, a woman, a dwarf, about yay tall, look, over there.
If I were you, I wouldn't pay any heed to the ramblings of that fool.
Oh, well, what have you to eat?
We've only got amber ale, I'm afraid. Can't spare the potatoes for hard alcohol. If you'd like something that'll stick to your ribs, I'd flag down Loverick and get yourself a bowl of the house stew.
Thank you. All right, so Loverick is the last person we're going to talk to today.
Get you something, friend. 'Tis through their might that peace
I'm going to scroll out a little bit so we have a possibility.
He fixes you with a stare, looks you up and down, weighs you up, the cut of your cloth, the weight of your bag. A moment passes. Then a smile creases his face, a smile carefully constructed to look friendly and authentic. a smile that doesn't reach his eyes.
I wonder if that we were wearing something different that was worth less coin, if that would have been a different response.
Greetings, stranger. Looking to ease the pain of a decaying world? You're in the right place. Beers are ordered at the bar, but can I interest you in a nourishing bowl of stew?
Oh, you can. Oh my. Maybe Ifan might choose number 2, but Shelben sure wouldn't. Oh yes, a bowl of stew, please.
A bold choice, on the face of it, unless you're looking for something a little more tantalizing than a meaty stew and a mildly alcoholic brew.
Shelben doesn't know what he's talking about. His naivete is in full force. He honestly doesn't know what the guy's talking about.
He raises an eyebrow and gives you a sly look.
Shelben looks at him and says, "Oh, is the stew very spicy? I prefer mine mild, thank you." All right, so we could get some stew here, some meaty stew, porridge. I'll get a little bit of stew, because why the heck not? And share it with the party. Let's have Beast buy that so we have a slightly better chance. You can see here that Shelben's attitude is, well, I'll do it in a minute. Except, Shelben's attitude over here is -25 because of his stench. Which is not, he doesn't actually stink, but it keeps melee opponents off of him, but it does mean that he's no good for bartering. Our barterer is Beast. So, let's offer all wares, as always. Alright. Otherwise, he hasn't really got anything else of interest to us. Okay, so, one last thing. Let's talk to the cook. Find out what's going on with these Magisters. I love this music. A tall and graceful elven woman stands in the kitchen. Her name is Wivlia. And if she'll stand still, we'll talk to her.
I've spotted the cook acknowledges you with a small bow, an oddly formal gesture given the surroundings.
Shelben has noticed a loose plank. We'll look at that later.
Please, sir, you should not be back here. It's not safe.
Let's see here. This is kind of forward, and I think would probably put her on her guard. Find someone to do. Shelben takes a sniff of the air, and he says, that smell, that's nutmeg. In a pie or in the stew?
Cinnamon, not nutmeg. There's a food shortage in these parts. Fresh meat can be hard to come by. Liberal seasoning helps disguise all sorts of sins.
Oh dear goodness. My tummy hurts now. I'm kind of nauseated. Okay, so do not play this game if you are hungry and, you know, just before dinner, because it'll put you right off your meal. Shelben says cinnamon, and his head he goes, cinnamon, like the ghost said.
Now please, I must return to my work.
And then he blurts out, I was just told about cinnamon by, well, I knew Magister Herrick, he lies. She liked cinnamon very much.
Any warmth in the cook's eyes drains away. She holds your gaze for a long moment, then...
I know. Yum. Eat up, everybody. Especially since I highly suspected this woman has been putting bits of Magister in the stew. Ooh. You know what? That meaty stew, I think I'm going to throw it away. I don't want that meaty stew anymore. You know what? In fact, let's just sell it back to her real quick. Beast hands him the meaty stew. And we're going to sell it to her. And we're not even going to, we don't even want anything in return for it. We'll just be like, you know what? I'm no longer hungry.
Be glad you don't have to witness.
Anyway, she is no longer friendly towards us, I suspect. Hello, Joe.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Beast says, the Magister Herrick died violently with the scent of cinnamon in her nostrils.
The cook maintains her stare, the tiniest hint of a sneer on her lips.
Prove it, or else get out.
I think the Magisters would want to know about this, says Shelben. And he's thinking about how he needs the favor of the Magisters, or at least maybe a way to get into that list, find that list. So he's thinking that if he told them, he might be able to somehow get some sort of favor, is what he's thinking. Hello. Oh, Miss Sweeney Todd. Patrick, you have spoken only once during this whole stream, so I thought you were new.
No, you sweet fool. You couldn't.
Of course I could. Why not?
The things you're insinuating about me require proof, and it seems as though you have none.
Suddenly, Shelben realizes that his story is from a ghost that no one else seems to be able to see. And that she is correct.
So don't you pit your word against mine. You'll only lose. Now get out of my kitchen.
Losa waves a hand to him. Shelben, come here. Losa says, let me take care of this.
Stew is good, if you're thinking of it.
Can you believe that? Meaty stew. Losa is going to amble her way over the kitchen door, and as the cook is not paying any attention, she's going to quickly sneak and grab everything in the plank.
It bears the Magister seal, and there's blood on it.
And then, when the cook is not paying any attention, her back to the fire, Losa walks out and triumphantly displays the ring to Shelben. Losa, you're a miracle worker. Where did you find that? She says it's under that plank you pointed out. So we now have the Magister seal. We don't need to switch it to Shelben. The conversation will carry on without it. Call the health department. Dear health department, I wish to report a serious...
I have nothing more for you. No food, no words. Get out.
Losa says, you should not have kept souvenirs. She nods at the plank. The ring. It was under that plank. You murdered that Magister.
The cook shakes her head ruefully.
You should have just forgotten about all of this.
Shelben says, but just tell me, why did they take one of your family, one of the many elves we saw at Fort Joy? Why? She just shakes her head. And all of a sudden, we are really, really happy that we, kind of, you know, didn't eat that stew. Basically. And in fact, now that you think about it, that bread's looking kind of unpleasant, as is that fish pie dough, as is that tomato soup, which smells funny. Okay, so between void-woken, void-tainted fish, the smell of that everywhere, and this, the party's gone right off their stomach. So we're gonna end this session with some battle. Yes. I know, Patrick, I know that sometimes, well, much of the time you don't feel well, and as always, you know you have my sympathies. And no, there's no need to feel bad about not talking. In chat, of course not. You speak as you wish. If you sit here the whole time happily enjoying it, then I'm happy. Alright, so let's call out someone who can cook a whole lot better than this woman can. A whole lot better. In fact, he makes a mean cupcake. Mr. Buns? Mr. Buns says, hello, hello, hello. Oh, I was just having a bit of tea and a scone. But that's all right, I'd almost finished. It was tea with a bit of lemon. It was quite delicious, really. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. Let's give him Farsight Infusion. All right, let's see if we can kill her and his entire turn. Let's first do Whirlwind. Does that take her? That does not take her down, but Battering Ram will. Down she goes. That takes care of her turn, and Losa comes in for a backstab critical. And then she's got 260 health left. We might be able to kill her in one whole turn. Let's do our best here. Let's set Crippling Blow. And oh, here we go. Flurry. Nice. Ifon, I think, should finish her off without one single problem. And Mr. Bun says, oh, that was lovely, absolutely lovely, a wonderful party, although something smells horribly of fish and, what is that? He sniffs the wind and then idly scratches a horn. It smells like, humans and elves and various other nasty bits. You'd better not have anything that they're serving here. Wait until you can come to my house and have a lovely cupcake and a scone and a bit of tea. And, oh, well, I make a delicious fish pastry. Yes. Well, I'll just, move along over here. Shelben says, he smiles. Hi, Mr. Buns, he says. Mr. Bun says, hello. Goodbye. So I have an imagination. I see Mr. Buns as a kind of I have an imagination, obviously. I see Mr. Buns as kind of a like a sprite type spirit who lives in in the base of a hollowed out huge oak tree that he's made like the gnomes. Like, I imagine that his real form is like something like maybe this tall, and that he lives in maybe a different realm or something, that a realm of the sprites or you know, where fairies or whatever, and he has this hollowed out tree, and in that tree, he has like, it's really nice in there. It's got like a little fireplace. There's a book called Gnomes that was done, beautifully colored book in the 70s, I think it came out. It's still available. I have a copy, but anyway, I've shown it before on the channel. And so I imagine that's kind of like that, very cute little furnishings and very comfortable. And if you could squeeze in there or make yourself small and come in there, he would offer you food. He loves to knit, and he particularly likes to do cross stitch and does beautiful paintings of forest scenes and stuff like that. And then suddenly he gets called to the realm of Rivellon, and he just disappears poof out of his little home in the trees under the oak tree. So that form that is not his true form. And I also imagine that he loves to knit sweaters. But the problem with his sweaters is that he loves making the sleeves of the sweaters. And he'll take great time and effort making the most beautiful, intricate patterns of these sleeves, but he can't bear to just stop doing the sweater. So he just puts another sleeve on. So his sweaters all have like 3 to 5, sometimes even 6 or 7 sleeves on them. He says, I've yet to find anyone who finds them really very welcome at the holidays, but well, I feel they're very warm. Well, Mr. Buns. All right, so in front of us, we want to see if we can find out why. So, I believe that all of our companions did get, yes, they did get spirit vision. And just for the fun of it and the role play, I'm going to have Shelben have spirit vision first. And then over time, as the companions hang out with them and it kind of infuses onto them, they'll also one by one get spirit vision and be able to finally say, Shelben, you're not crazy. You are seeing these things. So, for now, Shelben, because if we switch to Losa, does she disappear? No, she doesn't. That would be kind of cool touch if she disappeared. Because Losa has not got spirit vision activated right now. Only Shelben does. Anyway, before him now stands the spirit of Wivlia. Shelben looks down at her body sadly and says to the spirit, I didn't want to kill you. We didn't want to. We only wanted to know why.
The spirit of Wivlia glares at you with all the venom she can muster.
And that's a whole lot of venom. If you can go around cutting people up and putting them in soup and stew, then you've got a lot of venom. Shelben pleads with her one more time. The companion's wondering, thinking he's talking to the spirit. Alright, okay, so we will not be taking that crappy, nasty thing.
Cooking
or the
notes?
garlic.
Wait, there's something wrong with this.
Alright, and we have these cooking notes. You know, Heather and Morgan, you were saying earlier that you like to just listen, and I was saying too, and I'm learning how to be more understanding. It's really different if you're on a different side of the mic. So, you know, if people aren't talking in chat, sometimes you think, is it boring, or are they not interested, or has everybody left, or have they fallen asleep, or whatever. So I'm learning to recognize that it's not that, and that it doesn't mean that at all. And even if it did mean that, and people were bored, and everybody left, as long as I'm doing the best I can to produce a good show, then that's really all I can do is keep trying. You understand? It's helping me not to be insecure about it. Anyway, let's read this. Shelben opens up the letter and says, Magister Virgil, 250... What? Marinette, she kept no... Magister Caro, Fedor, and Carver were next. As much as I've seen the Magisters be horrible at Fort Joy, I can't say I wish them all ill will. Remember that until Fort Joy, Shelben saw Magisters as benevolent protectors. Kindly folk. Well, we'd better go show this to that elf outside. Maybe he can find some way to prove that he is worthy of being a Magister if he is so determined to be one. It seems as if it's been a day or more since they first went into the inn, though it's only been an hour or two. And as they walk back out into the bright, blinking sunshine, Shelben walks over to the elf, Stuart.
What is it? Unless you know something about the disappearances, leave me alone. I need to concentrate.
I do know something. I found this note. A list of missing Magisters and those who are to be taken next.
The cook? The elven cook? You're saying she's involved in this?
Yep, exactly. Quiet doesn't always mean bored. Yep, exactly, Heather.
She's been found dead, I heard. I thought she was another victim, maybe. But this changes everything.
I love it. Word travels fast. We, like, just did that. But let's say that it took him a while to talk to the ghost and... Well, no, that doesn't even make sense. I don't know how he found out. He was peeking in through the window.
Do my comrades know? Did you tell them what you discovered?
I have not. I thought that you might, wish to have the honors. Shelben knows he's doing a good thing because he's basically giving away his, trump card to maybe get more information from the Magisters, but he figures he'll have to find some other way to do so.
Well, in that case, I might just...
Well, yes, you might just. Shelben smiles at him. And he runs off in a hurry to share his news. Okay, mug of beer, spoon, empty cup, empty mug, bowl, barrel. Alright, so, we stand here having done a good deed, but it hasn't furthered our cause anymore. We still need to find that list of Magisters. I mean, not Magisters, list of Sourcerors, but at least we've done a good deed and solved a murder. Though Shelben will, occasionally from time to time in the future, awake from nightmares with the face of Wivlia the cook staring at him, refusing to answer his question into eternity. The question of why? And that brings us to... Oops, wrong, here we go. That brings us to the tail end of this stream. We have been streaming for about 4 hours, and I think, or maybe 3. Let's see, what's it say? Say 3? Yep, 3. We will finish the story here for today, and we will be back next Friday, and next Friday we'll try and find those Sorcerers and keep moving on through Act 2 of Divinity Original Sin 2. In this one, some awesome roleplay. I enjoyed it. I don't mean awesome roleplay like I'm congratulating myself, like awesome roleplay like it felt good is what I mean. Roleplay opportunities and a great chance to evolve the character as he met his god again. His god is now in him, so he still has that voice of the void that got to him from that cursed ring. And then he also has the voice of Rallick, and it's like the good and evil inside his brain, actually literally inside his head, you know. So that's going to be really cool to continue to act out. Thank you. Thank you, Dent. And so we will we'll continue on. And thank you, Thunder. We're just about to finish. And so yeah, I'm really happy to have seen you guys all here. And I will see you next week, Friday at the same time. If you'd like to keep up on what live streams are happening, I'm going to begin updating our live stream calendar again now that I've worked out the logistics. So when I put in an impromptu live stream, either for patrons or for anyone, I will put it in there. And this week, I'm getting a Jonesing to play Skyrim, so we might be doing some of that as well too. Thank you, Morgan. Your support will be appreciated. And whether you become a patron or not, hit that thumbs up as well too. For those of you watching later on YouTube, let me know what you think of the story. You can see chat now going by live, as it was live, so that's really cool. And I will see you all soon. If you liked it, hit the thumbs up button. If you loved it, join the party and subscribe. I'll see you next week, same time, same place. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Yay!